Today, we're diving into one of the most important parts of JavaScript operators. If you understand these, you can do magic with logic. These operators are what make your code smart, they help your program do math, make decisions, compare things, and much more. So, how many types of operators are there? In JavaScript, there are 6 main types of operators: arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, type operators. We'll focus on the most important 4 today, which are used in 90% of real-world JavaScript projects: arithmetic, assignment, comparison, logical. And the last operator among these, the type operator, is the one I've already told you about, and you also know how to use it, which is type of. Let's break other operators down one by one. So, first of all, arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used to perform basic mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. There are 6 arithmetic operators in JavaScript: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, exponentiation. Power. Let's start with the first one, the addition operator. The addition operator is used to add 2 numbers. For example, let A equal sign 5, let B equal sign 3, and then if we console .log A plus B, and if we run the file, the output here is 8. So let's understand what we did here. First of all, we created a variable named A and assigned the value 5 to it. Then we created another variable named B and assigned the value 3 to it. After that, we use console.log to print in the terminal and use the addition operator to add both values. So 5 plus 3 equals 8, simple math. And by the way, you can also do one more thing. For example, I remove the addition from inside the console.log and create another variable, like let C equal sign, and here I do a plus B. So you see, did you understand what I did? Before using console.log, I already added the values of A and B, and now this addition, which means 5 plus 3 equals 8, is saved into C. And now if I do console.log C and run the file, you will see we get the same output. And wait, it can also be used to join 2 strings together, which is called concatenation. For example, let first name equal sign John, and let last name equal sign Doe. And if we do console log first name plus last name and run the file, the output is John Doe. So the addition operator is smart. It adds numbers and joins strings too. Perfect. Let's move to the next operator, subtraction. The subtraction operator is used to subtract one number from another. It's super simple, just like math in school. For example, let A equal sign 10 and let B equal sign 4. And if we do console log A, B, and run the file, the output will be 6. And why? Because it subtracts 4 from 10 and gives 6. You can even do this directly. So if remove the variables I made and directly do console.log 130 and run the file, you can see it's 70. So remember, subtraction simply means take away the second value from the first. All right, time for the next one, multiplication. The multiplication operator is used to multiply 2 numbers just like we do in math. For example, let A equal sign 2 and let B equal sign 5. And then do console.log A multiply B and run the file, the output will be 10. You can also use it directly in calculations, just like addition and subtraction, like console.log 10 multiply 5. And if we run the file, you can see it's showing. This operator is great when you're building things like calculating prices, price multiply quantity, converting units, for example, inches to cm, doing area calculations, length multiply width, and yes, BTW. It works only with numbers trying to multiply a string or result in nan, not a number. For example, if I try to do console.log hello multiply 5 and run the file, you can see it's showing nan, which means not a number. All right, time for the next one, division. The division operator is used to divide one number by another, just like normal division in math. For example, if we do let A equal sign 20 and let B equal sign 5, and then console.log A/B and run the file, you can see it's showing 4, which is correct. And yes, if you divide by 0, you'll get a special value called infinity. So yay, they are so simple, and division is super useful for splitting up values, calculating averages, or when you want to evenly divide something in code. Awesome. Let's dive into a slightly tricky but very useful operator now, modulus or remainder. The modulus operator is used to find the remainder when one number is divided by another dot. Think of it like this: 10 modulus 3 means how much is left after dividing 10 by 3. So 3 goes into 10 3 times, which makes 9. So the remainder is 1. For example, if we do console.log 10 modulus 3 and run the file, you can see it's showing 1. Just remember, modulus doesn't give you how many times a number fits, it gives you what's left after it fits as much as it can. Time to wrap up arithmetic operators with some power. So the last arithmetic operator, operator 6, exponentiation. The exponentiation operator is used to raise a number to the power of another number. In simple words, 2, exponentiation, 3 means 2, raised to the power 3, which is 2, multiply 2 equals sign 8. So if we do console.log 3 exponentiation 2 and run the file, you can see the output is 8. So yay, boom, arithmetic operators done. Time to level up and jump into the assignment operators. So assignment operators are used to assign values to variables. The most basic one is the assign operator, but JavaScript gives us a bunch of shortcut assignment operators that make coding easier and cleaner. There are 8 common assignment operators: assign, add and assign, subtract and assign, multiply and assign, divide and assign, modulus and assign, exponentiate and assign, nullish coalescing assign. Let's start with the most basic one, the assign operator. The assign operator is used to store a value inside a variable. For example, let age assign 22 and let name assign Alex. It stores the value on the right side into the variable on the left side. You can also change the value later. For example, age assign 25. This is the most commonly used operator in all of JavaScript. Without it, you can't store or update values. Now we're getting into the shortcuts, and this one is super useful. The add and assign operator is a shortcut for variable equals sign variable plus value. So instead of writing it the long way, you can use add and assign to add a value to a variable and update it instantly. Let's see some example. So let score equal sign 10. And now if I want to add 5 to 10, I can simply do score, add, and assign 5. So this will be the same as score equal sign score plus 5. And if we do console.log score, you can see it's 15. You can use this with numbers, strings. Let's see an example with a string. So let message equal sign hello. And now, if I want to add another text with hello, I can simply do message, add, and assign world. And if we do console.log message and run the file, the output is hello world. So now subtract and assign. So this is exactly the same as the add and assign operator, just that instead of adding, it subtracts. It subtracts a number from the variable and updates it. For example, let health equal sign 100 and then health subtract and assign 20. And if we console.log it and run the file, you can see it's 80. So you can use it for decreasing score or health, adjusting prices or values, countdown timers, and with anything you want. All right, so now let's see. Multiply and assign operator. It multiplies the current value of a variable with another value and updates it. For example, let points equal sign 5, and then points asterisk equal sign 3. And if I do console, log points, you can see the output is 15. Super useful when increasing a value by a factor, applying multipliers like bonus scores, scaling values in animations or games. This saves time and makes your code clean and readable. Now, let's see, divide and assign. So, divide and assign divides the current value of a variable by another number and updates it. For example, let distance equal sign 100 and then distance divide and assign 2. And if we do console, log, distance, and run the file, it will return 50. So yay, nothing crazy, just a division. All right, so now time for a twisty one, modulus and assign, so it divides the variable by a number and stores the remainder back into the variable. For example, let coins equal sign 17 and then coins modulus and assign 5. And if we console, log coins, output is 2. So what it did here is that it divided 17 by 5 and showed us the remainder. And everything I'm explaining here is what we already learned in arithmetic operators. This is just a shortcut way of writing them. Let's see how we can write, exponentiate, and assign in short way. So you already know what it does, right? If not, you can go back to the video and watch it again. So let's see one example of it too. Let base equal sign 3, and then base exponentiate and assign 4. And if we console.log it and run the file, it will return 81. And why 81? Because what this operator do is let me show you if I write console.log 3 asterisk 3 asterisk 3 asterisk 3. And if I run the file, you can see it's 81. So yeah, I hope you understand now. Let's finish the assignment operators category with a modern and powerful one, nullish coalescing assignment. So the nullish coalescing assignment operator is used to assign a value only if the variable is null or undefined. It works like this. If variable is null or undefined, it gets assigned the new value. Otherwise, it keeps its original value. So for example, if we make one empty variable, let username, and then we do username nullish coalescing assignment guessed. And if we console log username, you see the output is guessed because the username variable is null or undefined. All right, now one more example. So let's make a variable name and let's assign the value, Alex. And now if we do name nullish coalescing assignment in console.log it, in this case, it will remain Alex. Hope you understand it. Hope. All right, let's dive into the world of comparison operators where true and false run the show. Comparison operators. So comparison operators are used to compare two values. They always return a Boolean, true or false. You use them when making decisions, like in if statements, loops, filters, etc. There are 8 main comparison operators in JavaScript: equal to, strictly equal to, not equal to, strictly not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than, or equal to less than, or equal to. Let's begin with the first one, equal to. All right, guys. Let's talk about the very first comparison operator, which means equal to. So what is equal to? Equal to checks if two values are equal, but it doesn't care about the data type. For example, if we do console.log 5 equal sign 5 and run the file, it's returned true. Here, one is a number and the other is a string. But since the values are the same, equal to operator says, yep, they're equal, and returns true. One more thing, equal to does something called type coercion, which means it automatically converts one of the values to match the type of the other before comparing. For example, if I do console.log 0 equal sign false and run the file, you see it's returned true. Even though one is a number and one is a Boolean, JavaScript tries to be smart and says, 0 is kind of like false, and gives true. This can be confusing sometimes, so yay with equal to, you can compare numbers, string, etc. All right, now that we know how equal to works, let's talk about its strict brother, strictly equal to. So what is strictly equal to? Strictly equal to checks if two values are exactly the same, and that includes both the value and the data type. For example, if I do console.log 5 equal sign 5 and run the file, you see it says false. Even though the value looks the same, JavaScript checks the type too. 5 is a number and 5 is a string, so strictly equal to says nope and returns false. So use strictly equal to when you want accurate and reliable comparisons. You want to avoid weird bugs and you're comparing things like numbers, strings, Booleans, etc. Let's see one more example. So let A equal sign 10 and let B equal sign 10. If I do console.log and run the file, so because 10 is equal to 10, it's returned true. So always remember, if you want to play safe and compare without any confusion, use strictly equal to instead of equal to. It's strict, but smart. All right, now let's talk about a comparison operator that checks if two values are not the same and that is not equal to. So what is not equal to? Not equal to checks if two values are not equal, but just like equal to. It ignores data types. So for example, if I do console.log 5 not equal to 5 and run the file, it's return false. Even though one is a number and one is a string, since the values match, JavaScript says they're equal. So not equal to returns false because it only compares the value, not the type. Now that we've seen how not equal to works, let's look at its strict version, strict not equal to. So what is strict not equal to? Checks if two values are not equal and also if their types are different. For example, console.log 5 strict not equal to 5. And if we run the file, it says true here, even though both look like 5. One is a number and the other is a string. So JavaScript says, yep, they're not the same. And returns true. So remember, strict not equal to is the opposite of strict equal to. Use it when you want to be super sure two things are actually different, not just by looks, but by type too. Now, let's dive into the comparison operator greater than. What is greater than operator? Greater than checks if the value on the left side is greater than the value on the right side. For example, if we do console.log 10 greater than 5 and run the file, it's returned true because here 10 is clearly greater than 5. So the operator returns true. Remember, greater than is for checking if one value is bigger than another. It's super useful when sorting or comparing sizes. And along with this, let's also understand the less than operator. You must have understood this by now. It's just the opposite. It checks whether one value is less than the other value. And if it is, it returns true. If not, it returns false. Now let's explore the greater than or equal to. This one is a combination of two comparisons. So what is greater than or equal to? This checks if the value on the left is either greater than or equal to the value on the right side. Let's see some examples. Console.log 10 greater than equal to 5. Console.log 10 greater than equal to 10. Console.log 5 greater than equal to 10. And now, if we run the file here, the first example returns true because 10 is greater than 5. The second example also returns true because 10 is equal to 10. But the third one returns false because 5 is not greater than or equal to 10. All right, so again, I don't think I need to explain the less than or equal to operator because it's exactly the same, just the opposite. It checks whether the value on the left side is less than or equal to the value on the right side. And if it's not, it returns false. If it is, it returns true. All right, now we're getting into the world of logical operators. These operators help you combine multiple conditions and make decisions based on them. We'll cover and, organ, and not. So first, what is an operator? An operator checks if both conditions are true. It only returns true if all the conditions are true. For example, if we do console.log 5 greater than 3 and 10 less than 20, and console.log 5 greater than 3 and 10 greater than 20. And now if we run the file. Here, the first example returns true because both conditions are true. 5 is greater than 3 and 10 is less than 20. In the second example, it returns false because the second condition, 10 greater than 20, is false. And now what is OR operator? So OR operator checks if at least one condition is true. It returns true if either one of the conditions is true. For example, if I do console.log 5 greater than 3 or 10 greater than 20, and if I do console.log 5 less than 3 or 10 greater than 20, and run the file, here, the first example returns true because the first condition is true, 5 is greater than 3, even though the second condition is false. In the second example, it returns false because both conditions are false. So, now let's talk about not operator. So what is not operator? Not operator is a negation operator. It reverses the result of a condition. If the condition is true, not operator turns it false. If it's false, not operator turns it true. For example, if I do let is rainy equals sign true. And now if I do console.log, not and then variable name is rainy and run the file, you see the is rainy is true, but not operator turn it to false. All right, guys, that wraps up today's video on JavaScript operators. We covered arithmetic, assignment, comparison, and logical operators, and I hope everything made sense with the help of real-life examples. But hey, if you're stuck or didn't understand anything clearly, join our Discord server. There, you can ask your doubts, interact with other learners, and I personally drop daily JavaScript tasks based on the videos. So you can practice what you've learned right away. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're going from beginner to advanced, one day at a time. See you in the next one, and I'll catch you on Discord.